Welcome to the Body Series sequence presented by Grit Life Fitness Personal Training. My name is Kristina Courage, and this sequence, number 7? Yes, number 7. This is your hip flexor series. This is an amazing series. We're going to do 4 or 5 different types of ways to stretch out your hip flexors. And I want you to think about which one you like best, or which one do you feel is more effective for you. So they're all a little different. And let's get started. So let's move back to your mat, and we will start standing. This is going to be an alternating step back long low lunge. I typically do this in a warm up, and you can start at the top of your mat. Feet should be generously wide, and you're going to take your right leg and do a huge split stance. So this is the front of the hip is where we're trying to stretch, and you're going to be on that back heel. So you're just going to try to stay a little tucked under, and then we'll reach up with the arms, and then we'll step forward and keep going. So we're going to do this for about 1 minute. And I'm keeping my front foot stable, bending my front knee, but it's really my back hip that I'm focusing on here. So there's a little bit of tension in my abdominals and my core. Now you could also step onto the floor if you have something soft under your knee, and that can give you a little bit more stability at the bottom of that move. Good, keep going. We got about 20 more seconds, just showing you from this position. So there's definitely a good amount of space between my feet, and reaching up is just a beautiful way to extend that stretch. So feeling that stretch here, you can hold it as long as you want. Let's do one more. Beautiful. All right, the next one is called the Bootstrapper. So this one is a little bit more intense. It's really going to depend on who you are, if this feels intense or not. But our goal here is to get depth. So we're going to take our feet really wide. The taller you are, the tighter you are, the wider you should go. And just do some trial and error and see which stance is going to work best for you. I'm angling my toes out, and then I'm going to reach down, and I'm going to bend my knees as much as I need to and grab my toes. And then from here, I'm going to slowly sink back. But I'm going to try to keep my entire foot anchored down into the floor. And I'm keeping my elbows in between my knees to push them out. This is your Bootstrapper. And then I find my feet, and I go right back into that fold. So super smooth movements here. And if you're really tight, which most of us are, nothing wrong with that, you may just not get as low. So you might stay higher versus getting your butt to the floor. So you're gonna hold it as long as you want at the bottom, whatever you can tolerate. And for a little bonus, if you're flexible, when you get down to the bottom, you can really push those knees out and try a little shift. Good, just a few more. And like all exercise, we want to just remember that it's just a trial and error process. You're just playing around with it, keeping that chest lifted. All right, as a little extra challenge for the final move, push your knees out and then hold it with your legs. Reach your arms forward and stand up. Beautiful. All right, our third move is going to be a runner's lunge. So we're going to start on the mat this time. And you can start on your hands and knees, or you can start in a high plank. So I'm going to stay on my knees. I'm simply going to take my left foot and stomp it right next to my left pinky finger. So again, I'm getting more of a stretch in my right hip. I'm keeping some tension and tone in my core. Then I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to reach up to the sky, and I'm stacking right on top of my right arm. Then I come down, square up my shoulders to the mat, and then I'm going to come back and switch sides. So this one also gives you a lot of variation. I could tuck my back toe under, lift my back knee, The goal here is letting those hips sink down, add that rotation, lower down, and you can stay on the same side here for about 30 seconds. Just do a few rotations. I like staying on one side for about 30 seconds before switching. All right, so let's come back and let's do a few more on that left side. And again, take your time really shifting that foot up to the front so that it is flat. The knee is right over your ankle and it's out to the side, so it's next to my shoulder. And then try a little twist. And relax down. All right, let's move on to our last move, which is usually what I do at the end of classes, but you can do this at the beginning or any time of the day that you need to stretch out your hips. So it's a little bit more, we're gonna be holding it a little bit. So we're gonna kneel, and then we're gonna take one leg forward in a lunge, kneeling lunge. Now this is the hip we're stretching. The one that's connected to your back knee, that's pressing down into the floor. All I'm gonna do here is tuck my tailbone under just a little bit. So positioning my hips and pelvis, pulling the belly in, and then with my front knee kind of guiding it, I'm just gonna shift maybe an inch forward and back. So this is very subtle, very, very small. I'm gonna feel that shift in that hip. I'm just gonna keep my shoulders stacked, hands by my side. Woo. Right? Okay, then we stay right here, and we're gonna stay with this hip. We're gonna keep those drills going here. So the second drill on this hip is gonna be taking that same side arm up, and then rather than hinging forward, we're gonna push the hip out and in. All right, now we're still trying to get a little bit of a tailbone tuck, so that there's some length in that hip, but just breathing and adding a little bit of a shift left to right. Good, one more time. All right, now the final one, if you put both hands on your hips, get them really square, scoot that tailbone under, and then see if you can trace a little bit of a circle with your hips. All right, feeling this in the hip rather than in the low back is what we want. This one is super tricky. Very small, very subtle. All right, go the other direction. And you can also just put a pillow under your back knee too if you need more support. Ooh, all right, rest. So definitely moving in those different directions is you're gonna feel those stretches a little differently. All right, let's try the other side. I'm actually gonna double up my mat here for the final hip. All right, so kneeling, bring that one leg out into the front. We'll do it like this. All right, so feeling the length, anchoring that back knee, and you want your back ankle lined up with that knee, so it shouldn't be in or out. All right, pulling, squeezing, and tucking that tailbone under, 90-degree angle, and then a little shift. Go super, super small here. I want tension here, so we're not like just doing this. Good, and then we'll take the arm up, and we're gonna move that hip out and in. So a little side bend, just small, keeping that tailbone tucked. And think about what the other hip is doing as well. They're kind of both moving together here. Good, final one, come down with those arms, hands on both hips, squared, tuck the tailbone, and then do just a tiny little circle, like you're a very small hula hooper, or you're hula dancing. All right, switch direction. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very small. This is a really good one to practice over and over and over again. Okay, let's release there, relax. Excellent. So out of all those 4 moves, choose the ones that you like best, but even practicing all of them is going to give you a little bit different experience with your hips and what they can do. All right, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.